Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saur Darkchylde, and welcome back to Let's Replay Ace Attorney Trilogy. For this episode, I've got my sister back with me, so we can add more voices to the cast of characters for today's case. So, hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. I don't remember much of what happened since last time I've done this. It's been a long time, so we're just gonna work it from where we left off.
Solve some cases, Nick.
Yes. Enjoy the show.
January 8th, 9:46 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think's gonna happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well, and it ended up a giant mystery.
That's true. We still haven't solved a single part of it yet.
Are you okay, Nick? You thinking about burgers?
Huh? Oh, yeah, of course.
I saw that flash of doubt in your eyes.
No! Oh, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination, yeah!
Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger. Don't let me down, Mr. Wright. Counting on you.
Hey, pal! Hey, Detective Gumshoe!
Oh, Detective.
Quit stressing Maggie out! She doesn't need that! How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Hey, show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help.
Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too?
Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that does look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is a small bottle that turned up at Tresbian's kitchen a couple days ago.
Wow! Look at all these little bottles.
Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor.
Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from the others.
Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either.
It doesn't smell.
We finally got the analysis results back from the lab.
So, what is it? Is it poison?
I'm afraid not, pal.
Oh, shucks.
It's medication.
Medication?
Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's medication for Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Gonna have to remember that for later. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour, and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... That's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impenetrable today. Got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done. Or my name isn't Phoenix Wright.
January 8th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 4.
In session for the trial of Miss Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Ready and waiting, as always. Your Honor.
Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims he has to have witnessed the defendant putting the powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems.
The mark on the rim of the cup shows the victim drank with his right hand. But, according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand.
Thank you, Mr. Goda. Furthermore, according to the witness's accounts, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear.
It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have. Huh, Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must win it.
You've lost me already, Mr. Goda.
Don't let the mysteries of yet another of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my roles.
Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions?
You know the answers to these riddles?
You know the answers to these riddles?
The old guy wasn't just throwing seeds in here. He was throwing us off the saddle.
Explain.
And today I'll prove it.
Okay. Very well. Oh, let the first witness take the stand.
And you are?
Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner of the head chef of La Transbienne restaurant Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Ooh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am la pretty gentleman, no?
On the day of the incident, you were in Trevian's kitchen. Isn't that right?
With you, monsieur.
Huh?
Everything feels right. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tresbienne. Oui, volunteers.
At Trevian.
When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new article that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no?
Oui.
Mirror? Oui, le grand mirror. The most enormous mirror.
And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Victory sip. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it.
That would explain the cupping up in the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Très bien. Cross-examination.
When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant.
Hold it!
And who were the 2 customers exactly? Yes, of course, the young man who died. And the owner, not so young man. You are referring to yesterday's witness, I presume? What about the other man Maggie said she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence.
We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we?
I guess I'll have to try a different approach for the time being. I remember I was experimenting with some new art. Decos that day. Oops, I meant to press that one.
Hold it!
You were experimenting with Art Deco? Oh, how come I never heard about that before today? You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur? Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decorature? No, Art Deco. Oh, it is a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpet, that kind of thing. Ah, yes, of course, that deco. I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of la decor. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example.
Hold it!
How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Oh, something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 yard. Holy glass in a frame, that's huge! I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. Yes, none. But I decided not to go through with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about it? I better. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror hurting Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimony. But... Objection!
You didn't ask, right? You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work.
What?
The mirror was delivered to Trebian the day before the incident.
Really?
As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end.
This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Trespian, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime.
If you want to doubt someone, try look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough.
So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. That was the testimony I missed. Not yet. Alright. Where was I? Okay. Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and the real object.
Objection!
Normally? How does normally come into this? That's lame, right? Even for you.
Huh?
Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy over here? Well, Trite?
Not the hair!
I don't have a top-knot.
Mr. Goddard is correct.
I don't have a top-knot.
A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Again, logic has won the day.
Nick, do I have a top-knot?
We'll discuss it later. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no? Oh, wrong button. Speed through this. I need to do that again. Press the wrong button by accident.
Oh,
Objection!
That's better. The coffee, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing an earpiece on the same side as the green lens of its face specs. No question, and you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told that the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw that as his reflection in the mirror, it would mean both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Excitement. And you see, monsieur, now that you think about it, it is not so odd, no?
he's deaf on that side, isn't he?
Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with this fact. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in the mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order! Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's earpiece to have been over his right eye.
Objection!
Right. Take bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time.
Are you talking about your coffee or something completely different?
You don't understand the way the witness thinks.
How he thinks?
You remember this, I presume.
The I broke the vase story? Apology let? I mean, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony?
The old man has one grievous habit, another that other than throwing the seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elk?
Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece.
He looks like the same one. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elk's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yeah, they were both in his left ear, do you hear? His left ear. Well, right.
That's the worst but best impression of Mr. Kudo ever.
Wow. I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Godot's good.
Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony.
Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of contradictions you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can a lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears.
Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans in the restaurant. Hello, is everyone sitting comfortably?
Oui.
The mirror. It was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two aisles. There was only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, it did not match anything else. So, I see no problem with the explanation we have just heard. From the table next to the victim, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in a mirror. What a naughty little cote I am. I'm confusing all the men like this.
Don't worry about it. We can keep up except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there. Again.
I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please.
Uh-huh. Cross-examination. Yeah.
The mirror. It was in the middle of the restaurant dividing the two aisles. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Oui. We? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't put a mirror there. It would be in the way.
Objection!
Look who's talking, Trey.
Huh?
You're upset, in my view, among other things.
But this is my seat in the courtroom.
Trevian's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporary placing the mirror in that spot would hardly be in your way.
I tell you, monsieur, the mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant. There was only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. And where would that be? Ooh la la! Look how you lean towards me. I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too. Oh, you know, handsome. I shall not. Shall I tease you too?
I'm already seeing a very hot summer, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. Her name is Coffee. I bet she's mocha cream skinned and cappuccino perfume.
Bien, I will tell you. There was only one seat from which you could have seen in them. That was, let's see, at the table, next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. Where are you? There you are.
Objection!
This piece of evidence contradicts what the testimony you have just heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that, theoretically, he should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
Should not exist. Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite.
Now then, if the defense would please clarify this statement. One of these somethings should not exist, was it?
Take that!
I think this is pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase? What possible connection does that have to have with the witness's testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence.
Take that!
There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet,
Right there.
as the court can see, clear as day, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Good job, Nick.
Objection!
Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from.
Exactly.
Maybe he didn't see it.
There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Trisbian that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie.
Objection!
Don't try to confuse the court, Trite. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase. While the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene.
Objection!
Unfortunately, Mr. Goda, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified that to the contrary in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror.
Oh, you go.
Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear?
You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trite, then this probably is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw?
If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it.
Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick?
There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya.
Oh, what do you mean?
Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is
The victim
the
was
victim
fake.
was
Yeah,
a phony.
It was a phony.
This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And what is that?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events.
What?
Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his ear by mistake, left ear by mistake.
Order in the court. Settle down or I will clear this courtroom.
Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say?
Trite, are you saying what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup?
Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that?
Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the servant girl brought him a cappuccino. Oh, but she put something in it. That's the servant girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
It's so hard to believe, but
There's one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
objection!
Are you insinuating that the waitress is the old man's story is fake as well? It's true that there was no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening.
That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known all about it, correct?
Oh la la, this is most difficult for me.
Objection!
No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Trespian that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened.
The defense request for additional testimony is accepted. you will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day.
We...
Witness testimony in the restaurant.
La victim, Monsieur Elg. He came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man and arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes after that the poisoning incident occurred. There was no time for a phony to do a thing, acting.
Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all?
Je may pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
What you have done...
You're going to jail.
What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later.
He's going to jail.
We...
Right, Nick?
For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well.
He might not see the light of day for a long time.
But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination.
No, he would be decommissioned as a cross-examination in a restaurant.
Okay, let's speed this up. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to the restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him.
Hold it!
By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, he comes often for my special coffee.
Special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience.
Ooh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome anytime.
I said it was worth one sip and nothing more.
So, old Mr. Kudo, who arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask more about this in more detail. Time? Out of curiosity, what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday.
The crime report was responded at 2:25 p.m. by some crazy old man, sir.
Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened around 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10, no? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help. Hope in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I?
Imbecile.
The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony.
Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you.
Lies and slander.
Merci bien. And that's French, isn't it?
I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood.
Sog himself.
I remember
the old man arrived not long after him, just after 2 p.m. Alright. Wrong evidence. Where are you? There's supposed to be a news report on a radio show that he listens to. There you are.
Objection!
I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Clay? What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to a radio in his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announce the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be the show, man. Glenn Elg was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at the restaurant after 2, correct? Oui, I'm sure of it. I remember it quite perfectly now. I know it was that time, because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m.
Are you stupid?
And it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim, we've been told about, has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to a radio show with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There is only one conclusion you can draw from these facts.
Mistake?
This victim was an imposter acting out the poison 30 minutes after the real murder. Yeah, pretty clever. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Trespian that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Objection!
Better performance, try. We're almost on a roll. You lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song.
What is this? Music Therapy 101? Theory 101?
Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's not just a phony elf is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. How do you explain then where the real Glen is?
I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however. At that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Objection!
That's exactly what I was hoping to say.
What?
I presume you can prove this is Can you explain where the missing corpse went to?
The missing corpse?
Yeah, according to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glenn. Then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim?
The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examine by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
In the freezer.
Yes, Your Honor.
In the freezer.
No conjecture, right? Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden.
Evidence?
Pressure in here all of a sudden.
I thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead.
That's what I do.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of Glenn Elg hidden?
In the
It's
frickin'
in the-
freezer.
I would have it would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tresbienne. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was hidden is right here.
Take that!
The body was hidden here. I see.
Rice ocean. But the real question is, can you where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location?
I've got it right here, you ass.
Take that!
Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No. I've never seen that ugly bottle before in my life.
Oh my god!
I only use the best bottles, monsieur. The latest quality, only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright?
In la kitchen.
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tresbienne.
La kitchen.
Eh? Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, do they? That Mr. Elg visited and... Oh, God.
Gynecological. Ear doctor. Ear doctor.
An ear doctor clinic.
You're welcome.
And was given medication that day.
You can't be serious.
The defense has the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. It contains the contents of the bottle matches the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Glenn Elg's murder hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time the bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu! Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. No! Order! This is an extraordinary development! Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg? Never! I could never do such a horrible thing. Oh, breakdown. Mr. Goldar?
The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules.
Do you have the slightest idea how many cups of coffee you've had by now?
Then I like to do the same person. I like to take them down. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear? My age-deficient friend.
Je veux demander pardon. Please, you must hear me out. Here's a trap. Listen to me, por favor. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong.
Yeah, I just said that.
And por favor is Spanish.
I'm only going to ask once. Did you do it?
None, absolutely none.
Let's hear it. You got one shot. Right, perhaps?
Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godard's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel.
He might miss.
Oui, it is clear.
I think we should just send him to jail.
Why do they always say what do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
Witness testimony. A confession.
It is true. I hid the body in my kitchen. And a man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
Now you're accessory to the fact.
You were forced? By who?
That's evil twin.
I cannot say, or I will be erased.
It's your evil twin, right? Yeah, it's your evil twin.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Glenn died, was he really the only person at that table?
No.
Saur was. There was another man. I knew it.
The truth. Go figure.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
Oh, we don't need to.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer.
Maybe if you kiss him. Come on, he likes you. Cross-examination, the confession.
It's true. I hid the body in the kitchen.
Hold it!
Did you carry the body by yourself? I carried him. I carried Maggie too.
What happened to Maggie?
Maggie too? When Maggie saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? A man forced me to do it. I had no choice.
Evil phoenix guy.
Objection!
Evil guy. Evil.
Let's end this dance up. Ring around the rosy, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. Ah! Who is that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before.
He's your evil twin.
Oh, I don't know, maybe a month ago in this very courtroom.
Maybe I'll...
This man is Pharaoh Tiger. He's the manager of a loan office called Tender Lender. There's no point in trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you couldn't go against Mr. Tiger, at least not while he had this on you.
Yeah.
Take that!
Horrible, terrible monster.
A $500,000 loan from a black market loan
I
shark.
just said that. I'm good at this.
And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you. Oui, it is as you say.
Armstrong.
The tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan.
And then he won the lottery so fast.
I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do, and I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconstant Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what had happened. I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Pharaoh Tiger.
You still should go to jail for lying to us. Perjury is a horrible.
I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was it your doing as well? None! I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable! Mr. Godot,
Yo.
you will summon this Pharaoh Tiger as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we'll adjourn for now.
Wonderful.
Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
30 minutes.
What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. Maybe half an hour to get back up on the stand. Not a minute more.
How the...
Sit back and relax. Yeah, that's right. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tiger is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Might want to grab a drink or something for the final part. We'll be right back, folks.
January 8th, 1:21 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1.
So, we're finally gonna see the tiger on the stand?
We've almost got this case won now, Nick.
I wish I could agree.
Huh?
When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Gora picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth.
He was doing a lot of lying. Like a lot of lying.
most of our
You
witnesses
mean,
lie.
you think Mr. Armstrong was still lying?
I don't know. But if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal!
Here comes the case making evidence that we need.
Detective Gumshoe.
What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair is standing on end.
Hey, that's the pot. Calling the kettle back. Black, little Miss Top Knot.
It's not a top knot.
Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright?
I can't stand. I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I kinda get wound up. Ah!
No kidding!
You gotta do something you need me to do, pal. You gotta have something for me to do, pal. Anything.
Well,
Hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down the precinct. I could get some prints analyzed. He's for you if you got an hour.
an hour? The trial will reconvene by then.
But Nick, we don't have a really decisive piece of evidence.
True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprints analysis done in an hour?
You bet.
In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me?
Take that!
If you're going down to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on this?
Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave ya back to you this morning, right?
Yeah. I think it's time we solved the last mystery of who the prints on it belong to.
Sure thing, pal. Anything. Actually, that's been gnawing at me too. I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back.
This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess.
It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. January 8th, 1:56 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 4.
The court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Firo tiger?
It was a 3-cup job.
Tamed him? The guy's name may be Pharaoh Tiger, but come on! Very well. Please show Mr. Tiger to the stand.
Oh.
Witness? Please state your name and occupation.
Ah!
Don't hide under the table, Maya! Unless there's room for me down there, too!
Scary Nick.
What do you say to me?
Nothing! I didn't say nothing! Honest! Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in a judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge, who's hiding under his desk. Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it. We're doomed.
Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here?
There's no need to shout. We can all hear you.
What'd you say?
There's no point in struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. And I'm the one that hauled you in.
Too cool.
Don't let him get the better of you, Nick.
Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, masked boy. Maggie, who? I've got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas.
Well, of course. Well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then? Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder.
Phoenix Wright. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret this, you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today.
Ew.
Get a grip, Nick. Witness testimony. Tiger's alibi.
I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up in business December last year. Spent all my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. Yous wanna check my alibi? Then ask Violetta.
At last I found my pen. Very well then. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination... What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that.
I know the kind of games that guy in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife? Me? Listen up, smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000. And you's gotta borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger.
Just a minute. That's really not... Very well. Oh, I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here.
You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus.
The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant impressing of the witness's testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
You can do it, Nick.
Come on out from under there, Maya.
No. I'm safe. Cross-examination. Tiger's alibi.
I don't know nothing about no murder.
Hold it!
I don't buy that you haven't even heard of the incident that occurred at Tresbian. You's got a big mouth, right? You's trying to say I was in on some mob hit? Is that what you're trying to say? Where's your proof, then? Evidence? Yes, well... For an attorney to make an accusation in court, he must have evidence. That's from loan shark to lawyer, a beginner's guide, yeah?
I see you're the studious type, Mr. Tiger. Very good.
What should I do?
Leave it.
That one for now.
It's too dangerous to press things without knowing where they might end up. I better just focus on gathering information at the moment.
Now then, Mr. Tiger, would you mind repeating your testimony from the beginning, please?
My time ain't free, you hear? Yous better remember that. If I miss my bus, someone's gonna pay. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up in business. It's December last year. Spent all my time in the office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day.
So I take it you get a lot of customers at your black market loan office?
It's tough for the little guys these days. Small business are feeling the pinch. Bosses of companies, he's like that, wanna get in good with me. I'm the best friend.
I see. That's very admirable of you, witness.
Yeah, well, tender lender's motto is win through compromise, you know?
Win through compromise? What is that supposed to mean?
Compromise the customer to win. That's what it means. You's got it? Best friends like you, who needs enemies? Here, let me spell it out for you all. Yous all. You don't pay me back within 3 days, Spiky, I'll take what's due and use stupid hair. You follow what I'm saying? Not one of your, but I'm not one of your customers. I better leave this one alone for now. It's too dangerous. Better focus on information for now.
Now then, Mr. Tiger, would you mind repeating your testimony from the beginning?
Yeah, we know. Your time ain't free.
Yous want to check my alibi? Just ask Violetta.
By Violetta, are you talking about the Cadaverini families?
Yeah, you don't want to cross them, or you's gonna wind up sleeping with the fishes. Once the Godfather finds out you's been dragging Violetta through the mud, he'll do you in.
Sorry, I couldn't quite put it all together towards the end there.
He said that just like Violetta, didn't he?
Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know.
You see these teeth? That's how sharp my security is.
Sharp? Is she talking about Viola Cadaverini?
She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says. So that's where I was.
It seems like a rather sketchy schedule.
There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't an issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what?
Press him, of course.
Mr. Tiger, what you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail?
Objection!
This is a dead end, Trite, and you know it. Remember the rules.
Objection!
No. Oh, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately.
I agree.
The victim was killed on December 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe yous wasn't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats waiting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before.
I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Golda, would you please?
The court asks that you add the last statement to your testimony.
Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. The day you's talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before.
Yeah, right.
Objection!
Mr. Tiger, you claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. And the date? December 3rd.
December 3rd? That's the day of the murder.
So, Mr. Tiger, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. You's actually not bad. Sorry? I was just messing with yous to see how good you were. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth.
Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated.
You's calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing?
Uh-oh!
So you're saying that your claim to have never seen the kid before is the truth?
I said I'm dead serious. You's better believe that's the truth.
Then I'd say that gives me the time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tiger.
Oh, yes. Would you mind indulging the court, witness?
He never actually met the victim? That's gotta be a lie right there. It's time I nail this guy.
Witness testimony. The victor, Glenn Elg.
I ain't no liar. I never met Glenn Elg. There was some lame guy with that name though, wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tender Lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. I ain't never even been to that lesbian joint, you hear?
Why would you name it if you...
I see. That all seems perfectly logical.
Oh, it doesn't.
You have arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up.
I've heard that it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead.
Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you? I got a big deal going down today. I ain't gonna make my bus now. Oh, I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, right?
Cross-examination. The victim. Glen Elk.
I ain't no liar. I never met Glen Elk. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office and the lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. I ain't never even been to that lesbian place. You hear?
Objection!
The Tiger. Mr. Tiger. Is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What you's talking about? We found them in your office at Tenderlander. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Tresbien before, what was a book of restaurant matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too? Wise guy. What are you? You my ball and chain? Ain't no bro controlling me.
Order! Well, witness? I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Sorry! I'm terribly sorry! Forgive me!
I ain't no pussycat, and I don't go back on what I said. But, okay. I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met that kid.
Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony.
I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet Glen Elk that day. And he did put poison in his coffee. He must have.
Witness testimony. Très bien.
I supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office.
I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end, then? Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold it! If I wait around here any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions.
No problem. Anytime Tripe presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see you pays a penalty.
Mr. Golda, that's my job!
Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call the guilty verdict. So do it.
Yes, sir!
The Special Express ain't cheap, right? So yous know since you're... Just so yous know since yous paying... Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here?
No. I'm still hiding. Très bien.
I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over a table, stiff as concrete.
Objection!
You're something of a loan collection pro, aren't you, Mr. Tiger? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detection pro. And no one escapes the phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got to something straight.
What's this trait? A new line of irrelevant questioning.
These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tiger. From there, your field of vision would have been covered by something like this.
Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat.
Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head.
Oh, you didn't?
Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, heck, you'll remember that between each table is a partition.
Why, that's true.
Now look at the floor plans again, and the truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends there. So, from the entrance of Tresbian, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him.
Objection!
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony?
Objection!
But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenn Elk, but a fake. In order for Mr. Kudo to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim whom he had just killed and acted out the charade.
Well, that will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly is this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenn Elk, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo? In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court.
Well, who else could it be? Obviously, the killer is Vero Tiger.
Cougar?
Almost said it. No one else could have done it.
What? Well, witness?
Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle. So I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts.
You can't threaten me, Mr. Tiger. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright!
Sounds like it must be you, old man. You've got guts. I'll give you that.
Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Mr. Goldar.
Let's just go back. The old man didn't see the victim.
The serving girl brought him his guavagino. Oh, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. And she's very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee.
Yes, it was the witness who poisoned the coffee.
Very impressive, Mr. Goda. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack.
Found your pen at last there, Trite?
It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed 2 people that day. Hey, he saw the victim, and the supposed Mr. Glenn Elg, and the waitress from behind.
Yes, your point, Mr. Wright?
I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenn Elk was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show.
What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well?
The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her.
Who on earth was it? Who was this witness that Mr. Kudo witnessed?
Easy.
The other girl.
Take that!
Who is this woman?
Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Lender. You's making a big mistake. Don't you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean. Where was I? Oh yes, the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird, has stated the following.
Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, I think there was another customer in the restaurant. And she had a kind of cackling laugh.
There's just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show that he was supposedly listening to an hour after it was over. There is only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, one for real and one for show. And Mr. Feral Tiger, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you!
Witness? What have you got to say?
That's cute.
Sorry?
You's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You've got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But you've missed out one really important thing. But that can't be. I was in my joint that day, and I met that kid. It too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you hear?
What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tiger?
What a troublemaker.
Troublemaker?
Looks like we're going to need another one of these for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony.
Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Trespian between yourself and the victim?
Witness testimony. Thanks to the victim.
Yeah, I loaned out cash, about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had his paycheck date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten a guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won! $500,000! He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over.
Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000.
Yeah, well, you've got a big to take into amount. Interest builds up fast, you know? That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice this principal.
And his repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question.
Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. No motive, He has to have one, but what is it? Yeah, I loaned Elva cash, about $100,000. That day we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his paycheck date, you see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I was about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won! $500,000! He got really lucky, you know? Real lucky. If the waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. I'm gonna press that statement. The waitress, you mean? The girl in the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't got in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little more on this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or no, or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there for her to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. And it was all coming together before that waitress got in the way.
As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, the tiger had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said.
The tiger's motive, huh? I was after the $100,000. I didn't have any other reason to kill the guy.
Like heck you didn't.
Objection!
So you just intended to get back the $100,000 from Mr. Glenn Elg owed you, correct?
I loaned the guy the cash, and that's my right. So that's my right.
Unfortunately, Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection!
What are you getting at, Trite? What else would a moneylender be after than money?
Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that that a single disc like this would fetch.
What is that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of His Honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seen repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elg had no way to repay the money is crucial.
What?
Glenn Elg was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection!
Exactly. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did the tiger need money to tune of $1 million?
There it is. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this do you know? The medical papers document
the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue the HMOs.
You don't pay a bill like that. Possibly end up dead more.
But the tiger had no choice but to pay. Because his life depended on it.
Yeah?
Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright?
Indeed it did. Simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Calaverini.
You say?
Bruto Calaverini, mob boss in charge of the all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Calaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire $1 million Bruto Calaverini demanded from you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glen Elg's life to pay off your debt. On the day of the murder, the tiger's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glen Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and the tiger knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tiger would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I.
Lottery win.
Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elk won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tiger with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least, not legitimate anyway. He murdered Glen Elg and then made his next move to frame Maggie Bird for the crime. The tiger posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Calaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish the witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Like I said, Shrek, that's crazy. No one could pull off a stunt. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it.
But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Goda? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tiger's plan. Almost. We're halfway, I think. You's put on a good show, Spiky. If yous wanna stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. Oh, you saying I dressed up like that kid, created a witness, and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do? Despite your appearance, you are very careful. Oh, that's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright?
So it's all in, right?
Oh boy, stakes on the line for this one.
What's the trick you say, Mr. Tiger, before
Take that!
What on earth is that? It's an insult to think anyone could be fooled with such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tiger, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very courtroom, you posed as me.
Yep.
What? That's...
The truth.
But... the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright! Although... now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put out the most disreputable, shabby defense I had ever seen.
Objection!
Prove that, Graham? Prove the attorney prepared to take the stand and testify to that,
Well,
Hey, forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, yeah?
Objection!
Have you no pride, sir?
Objection!
Uh-oh.
If we didn't know we deal with people's lives.
Yeah.
Mr. Godot is right.
Your Honor,
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced the attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as a judge with the best power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
no!
If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tiger are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
Oh, you say he impersonated you. That adds up to literature. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee.
Ah! Ha! Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. Got that?
Is that a threat?
All we managed to do was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt.
Looks like I won't be needing a refill.
If I just had one more piece of evidence.
I'm gonna show where the fuck are you?
One more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook.
The witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tiger.
Hold it! Your Honor, sir! Wait!
Detective?
Detective Gumshoe! Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's pounding on this too.
What is it, Detective?
Isn't it obvious, pal? It's the final decisive piece of evidence.
What?
Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab.
The results?
About the prints, pal, from the medicine bottle.
Oh, so
Now,
So you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know. You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Pharaoh Tiger's paw prints, all right.
that's great.
we've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here.
He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on the bottle now.
Huh? What? Why not?
What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenn Elg's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now.
I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never any use.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself.
This is our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal.
Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? You've been working on something for me?
Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get you out of this somehow.
Detective Gumshoe. Wait.
He's gone.
Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick?
I wish there was.
Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence.
So, if only there was some way I could use it.
How else are we gonna use it with Phoenix? We have to bluff with this thing.
January 8th, 3:04 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 4.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
I granted you a recess so you could prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered.
Yes.
Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are yous gonna waste? I ain't been to no court before. But yous lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion.
No doubt, given the nature of evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here. But maybe if you think it's not got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final piece of evidence to the court.
Take that!
This is the defense's final piece of evidence.
Isn't that the victim's...
Your Honor, naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified the fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tiger.
What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that fancy little bottle. Fancy looking bottle. Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. It seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tiger, this is the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains potassium cyanide. This bottle contains potassium cyanide.
Potassium cyanide?
The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tiger, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You make a good clown, you know that? What? You ain't never gonna get this to stick. You's just making me laugh now. You think a cheap little bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger, or you gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass.
Oh my god, he rolled a 1. He rolled a fucking 1.
He rolled a natural 20 on deception.
Yeah, and then this guy rolled a natural 1 on freaking...
That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it.
Well, you failed your will save, buddy. God. What? Want to repeat that? A little louder for the people in the back?
Got him at last. What? Why is everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But yous ain't got how to find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go.
You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said?
What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this courtroom for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all of the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known about what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. Yous don't know who's you messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some humped up suit get the better of me? Sure, last piece of evidence was a phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. Breakdown. And I am not going to do that because that's going to kill my voice.
Sure.
I'm trying to hold it.
Did he pass out?
Broke the lights.
Huh.
What's going on? It looks like a blackout.
Oh, well done. Trite. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you.
Ow!
Savor it.
So many first-degree burns.
Oh no, that'd be second degree. Well, you watch the police restrain your prey.
Mr. Wright, you got a tiger by this toe, but if this one hollers, we won't be letting it go. By now then, how are things going with the tiger, Mr. Goda?
Greg, Your Honor.
Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney.
Yes, she was.
Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Feral Tiger is a truly frightening criminal.
It's really frightening.
Goda.
Well, I am now in position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird,
Not guilty.
not guilty.
Woot. Please.
That is all. Court is adjourned.
January 8th, 4:10 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Mr. Wright. I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel like I can forgive him.
Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger.
Look, Nick, in the doorway.
Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. Wait!
Detective Gumshoe?
Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thanks.
I knew you were innocent all along.
Why didn't you say that in the testimony then?
Huh? Oh, well, I was. Well, I guess I'll be heading off now. Hey, wait up, detective! He just ran off.
Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medicine bottle. That wasn't even any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was running around in circles.
Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't really ready for forgiving him.
Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out a bit. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? No, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all of this.
I want to believe that, sir. But on the first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up.
He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts.
He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it.
I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really was caring about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her victory.
Take that!
Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom.
That's...
A present from Detective Gumshoe. Made with a ton of love.
He said you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like the weenies, you know? Did you guys just hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know.
Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit long today, didn't it?
Is it okay if I eat this now?
It's all yours.
So, how is it, Maggie?
So the case of phony virus is genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. But who knows? Maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. And that concludes this episode 12 of the Ace Attorney Trilogy.
Maggie!
Oh, yes. The next case is on Mia Fey's first trial and Edward's second trial, I believe. I will let you guys see the opening preview for this trial. And we will be able to do this short trial as soon as we possibly can. We are trying to work out a schedule for when we're able to do this series more. We're doing the best we can. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and would love to see more, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment if you want, ring that bell to be notified when our next video comes out. We do new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and occasionally Saturday and Sundays. Till the next video, this is Saur and Amy Darkchylde, signing off. Have a good night, folks.